Hello, welcome this evening to the Unlimited Show. I'm Zenka,
I'm Adam.
and we have a very special guest for you guys tonight. Um, Terri Jay, otherwise known as the Cowgirl Shaman. So, what I really love about Terri is that she is going to talk about the physics and how it works to communicate with your pets, whether they're alive or dead. With loved ones who may have passed or can't communicate because of some condition. Credible. And her main message is that we are born with these innate capabilities.
All of us. Yeah. We
Right.
can all do this.
So whether we're having to unlearn or learn for the first time, she's a very wise person who's going to talk a lot about her experience in doing this with thousands of people and pets. So I also wanted to take a moment, since it's the month of November, to have a warm-hearted thanks to people like Kyle, who is one of the people that work with LightNet, booking some of these incredible guests. And I just wanted to shout out to her tonight. We're going to share her links in the chat. Light Within You is the name of her company. And it's so cool because we have another friend who did a whole company called Knowledge Within You. So she's using the name of her company to remind you, just like Terri, who you are, what you can do, and everything else. So
very cool.
I also want to thank our broadcast partners, New Realities. Alan, we just did a whole thing yesterday or the day before with the congressional hearing on UAPs. So check out our LightNet or also New Realities to find out what happened in Washington. It was really fun, really encouraging, really exciting times.
Very much so.
I also want to shout out to all of our staff, Adham, Sharon, and to our donors, Holo Movement, Sedona Quantum Consciousness, Ashley, all the amazing people. We have some LightNet leaders right now who are searching. In 2025, we're going to find 100 people that have gotten out of wheelchairs or cured themselves of paralysis, 100 people who have cured themselves of an addictive behavior, 100 people who found their purpose, but we already really have that done. And we're in our first team labs right now where we have 5 teams of people going through the purpose lab. It's so exciting. And this is one of the things that Terri also is going to do, is she's going to tell you about how she helps people life coach through their guides, and she teaches you how to make this connection. So she's the modern healer of someone that says you can do it too. So without further ado, Terri, it's such a pleasure to have you. Welcome to Unlimited, where we
Thank you so much for having me. It's really an honor to be here. And I love sharing this information. I've had people say, "Oh, don't teach other people how to do this. What about the competition?" And I just laugh because there's no such thing. There's no such thing. We just have to give to each other to enrich each other's lives. Yeah.
The more of us who know how to do this stuff, heal ourselves, live our best lives, say goodbyes, say hellos, all this stuff that you're doing is real. And that's the philosophy of LightNet too. Let's teach everyone how to do it.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Are we allowed to ask you, by the way, tonight about your the new TV show that you're in, that you play a pet psychic, is it?
Yeah, and I don't use that word anymore at all. I haven't for many years. The
what
series
did they
that
say in the movie though? They call you something.
Oh, I know. I told them, I said, whatever you do, please don't call me that. And that's all they did, because they were going to make me out to be the bad guy anyway. But we filmed it in 2017 here in Carson Valley, Nevada. And so I was still using it a little bit at that time because people understood what it was. If you said you were one, they'd go, "Oh, you got to talk to my cat or my dog or my horse or something." But I've totally gotten away from it because to me, psychic means not the physical sciences. And I know my work is based in physics, completely physics, energy, frequency, vibration. And I don't know of a more science than physics, a bigger science than physics. So to me, it's just totally inappropriate. I cringe if somebody goes, "You're a psychic." I can't help myself. Go, "Oh, no, intuitive. We prefer intuitive."
Yeah. I noticed that on the movie clip. I was like, oh, wow, they have to use this so everybody understands what she does. But it's so beautiful what you're doing at so many levels. And I want to talk about what got you so passionate about this. When did you have this realization that you could do this?
Well, I was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. That's really what happened. In 1990, I was doing a horseback therapy program with disabled kids. And I picked a kid up out of his wheelchair and put him on the back of one of the horses. And he looked at me and he said, "Ouch, I have a cramp in my hip." And I said, "Oh, well, here, sit this way. It'll take the cramp out." And I mean, I think we had him backwards on the horse's neck, if you can imagine that. Because we were doing vaulting, which is gymnastics on horseback. So we had no saddles. We just had a surcingle with handles on it. So anyway, he said, "Hey, you can hear me." And I said, "Well, of course I can hear you." It didn't dawn on me at the time that he's completely nonverbal. So we went about our business, and there's somebody leading the horse. I'm walking next to him and going through the motions of what we do. And him and I were talking about everything but vaulting. He was talking about the school play he was in and his little girlfriend and all this stuff. And of course, the gal that's leading the horse, she's hearing my verbal side of the conversation. So we get done. I take him off the horse. I put him back in his wheelchair, and he goes back to class. And very sarcastically, and I missed it, she said, "Boy, he's sure talking great." And I said, "Well, he's very bright. Just because he has CP doesn't necessarily mean he has any cognitive issues." And she said, "Terri, he didn't say a word. He can't, remember?" And if I was a horse, I would have done a buck fart snort, because when they're spooked, they do all three of those things at the same time. And I was spooked. So I went into the classroom. Bethany, you must be a horse person.
I know. I'm cracking up too.
Anyway, I went into the classroom and they put a pointer on his head. It was a pointer with a band, and he had typed out, "Horse lady can hear me." They didn't remember my name, but they knew I was the horse lady. I was in a place one time, and this kid comes up to me, big teenager, obviously autistic. And he's standing in front of me doing finger flicks, which if you've been around autistic kids, you know what that is. And he's going, and so his people come running over to me. When they said, "We're so sorry," I said, wait a minute. This has got to be Cameron. And they said, "Yes, you know Cameron?" I said, "Well, he's whinnying at me." And I said, "So he remembers I taught horseback therapy with him." And they went, "Oh my goodness, that's you?" Because they remembered it too. Isn't that cool? But anyway, so I went back outside, and the gal that was helping me just said, very matter of fact, she goes, "Well, if you can hear him, you ought to learn to communicate with the horses, because all horses are telepathic. And then wouldn't that make your program really safe?" And I thought, okay, that's what I'm going to do, like a freaking idiot. And there were no books at the time. I mean, no books on how to do animal communication, maybe one or two in a whole library or bookstore. So there really was no support. There was no support system, nowhere I could. And I'm really glad I had to learn this on my own, because I look at some of this stuff that, the people that have been doing this that started before me, and I just think, no, that's not how you do it. You forgot the biggest thing, how fast you have to listen, huge gaping holes in the instructions, from the way that I teach it. And so I'm really glad I just had to learn on my own. And so one thing's led to another, and now I know there's no limits to it. You can just, and anybody can do it as long as you don't have any serious cognitive problems. And you can learn to do all of it. If you learn to do one of it, animal communication, then you can talk to dead people. There's no limit to it. It's all the same thing.
So fascinating. I love that you've been such a pioneer and that you figured it out, because when you're on that curve, that's the only choice you have. No other prior books to read. So cool.
Right. And I've written 3 now, because I really want to teach people how to do it.
Yep.
Yeah, and I was curious about those. Could you go into that a little bit?
Sure. My first book, I don't know if I have them here.
I'm going to share the links in the chat,
okay,
in all the channels for the Amazon book.
Yeah, the first one,
easy steps to develop.
The first one, it tells you how to do everything I do. And it's really written a lot tongue in cheek and talks about the corporate events I used to do dressed up like a gypsy fortune teller, which are really fun and they pay really well. But that one is just sort of the introduction to me and how I do it and all that. And the second one I had to write and I didn't want to. I wanted to get right into talking to animals. And it was like, nope, you have to do this one. And that's the one called Intuitive Communication. And it's for first responders, medical personnel, and caregivers. The other, there they are. Cool. So that one is really great because if you come upon an accident scene, is the person drunk? Are they having a medical episode? And if they're in a coma, can you talk to them? Yeah, you really can. Then the third one was so fun, and it's the physics of mediumship, because I wanted to take the woo-woo out of it. Because too many people are like, oh, yes, I'm special and I have gifts. And that's like, what, it may be short bus special, but that's about it. Because anybody can learn to do this. And so I really wanted to demystify it and teach people how anybody can stay connected to their loved ones, whether they're humans or animals, by just learning to do it. And I swear, the simplest part is listen faster. Because, we're all taught how to have conversations. I talk, you wait, you talk, I wait. We're taught that as kids. I'm talking, you're interrupting. I mean, we've all been through that, right? But when you do this work, it's so fast because it's all telepathic. So it comes out, are you, and with animals, instead of words, you do get some words from animals, which is really funny because in my horses, I can hear cookie, cookie, cookie all day. I can hear cookie because that's what they want. They know the word for it. And you'll get a visual image instead of a feeling, a pain. You can get a feeling of, there's times I get on my horse and I go, uh-oh, because he's full of piss and vinegar. And I just think, oh, I'm glad I'm wearing a helmet, it's got to get a little crazy. So anybody can learn to do this. That's the coolest part about it. And I really want to teach people how to do this because it has an incredible ripple effect. When you find somebody that's grieving, I have to tell you this reading I just did. I'm on the phone. We're talking about her horse. I can hear she's nursing her baby. I said, the baby's a reincarnation. She burst into tears. And I said, do you know who it is? And she said, yes. Her fiance was killed in August. The baby was born in October. The baby is her fiance. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. She goes, I kept feeling him here, but I didn't know. And I didn't know that was possible. I thought it had to be at the point of conception. No. Fetuses get their life energy in the last trimester. That's when they get their life energy. Anything before is reflex. If you feel movement and things, it's all reflex. Isn't that cool? So anyway, it's just amazing how easy this is to learn once you just get out of your own way, have no ego, no stake in the outcome. Getting rid of your ego is probably the hardest part, even for me at this day and age, because you want to be right. You want to be right, because to me, if I'm not right, it's not helpful. But the problem is I've been given wrong information, which turned out to be incredibly helpful. And I knew it was wrong at the time. And, sometimes I feel like a freaking Pez dispenser where my guides just biff me on the back of the head and the words fly out of my mouth. I mean, that's really what I feel like. But I argue with my guides all the time, and I probably should write a book called Arguing with My Guides, because it's hilarious. But anyway, it's just amazing how if you just get out of your own way and just feel for the information. And in the books, I teach the same way in every book, a little bit different for animals, because you're looking for visual images and tastes and smells and sounds. Dogs will always go, where's the dog that smells like this? And I just go, nose doesn't work. How'd dog look? So you can do it that way.
So when I want to ask you about how, you're talking about connecting with your guides. And why don't you maybe explain how that might work for people, or it works for you?
Well, I think guides are an energetic manifestation of weird parts of our personality directly connected to source energy. That's what I think guides are. Does that make sense?
That's so brilliant. So it's a refraction into Archangel Michael or whoever, or Esmeralda, whoever the guides are, right?
Well, but I think they're you. I
Well,
really
yeah,
think they're. I
you
think they're
plus
you.
them. You plus these canonical things. Like
No, we don't need them. There's no go-betweens. I think the guides are the go-betweens.
Oh no, that's what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is how do you explain that people have the same guides? Multiple people have the same guides.
The way that I look at it, see, to me, angels have one function: save your hiney, and then they're gone. I don't think people get messages from angels. I really don't. To me, they're here. That's it. They save your hiney as much as they can, as much as is in your best interest, and then they're gone. So a lot of people think, oh, I had messages from angels, but can you see the guides going, oh my God, they heard me. Oh my God, my person heard me, right? And so the person says, are you my angel? They're going to go, yeah, okay, that's the ticket. Yeah, I'm your angel. Are you the Archangel Michael? Yeah, okay, yeah, I'll be Michael. And then they go, oh, wow. And so everybody thinks they have the Archangel Michael. I don't think anybody does. I really don't. Because I really believe that our guides are manifestations of our own personalities. I'll give you an example. I was raised showing horses with some gay guys. Love them to pieces. Anyway, every time I get up in the morning and I scratch my head and I'm half asleep and I go, I don't know what to. I have a gay guide that tells me what to wear every day. And if I have a big thing like a premiere or something, here's the outfit you've got to wear. And he's just freaking adorable. You know what I mean? I can just hear him in my head and wear this and this, and you'll look fabulous. I can hear it. If I go in the kitchen to cook, it's a lady from Minnesota. Oh, yeah, you betcha. You know, that's what I hear if I go in the kitchen to cook. I just made new soup yesterday. She was driving me crazy. What a little flour in the meat. You got to get it to thicken and brown. Okay. So, I really laugh all the time because people go, I'm hearing voices in my head. And I want to go, yeah. Okay. Are they telling you good stuff? Yes. Well, those are your guides. Right? Isn't that funny? So that's what I think guides are, because I don't think we're ever disconnected from them. And the first time I heard them, I was in traffic and I just heard, pull over. And so I pulled over, and this was so long ago, we had those laminated spiral bound maps. That's how long ago this was. And I had to look up the address, and the street I needed to turn on was 50 feet ahead of me. And if I had not turned on that and had gotten on the freeway, which is right ahead, there's no way I could have gotten there from where I was. So I remember that. And the biggest thing that keeps them talking is just giving thanks. Thank you, I heard you. Thank you, I heard you. I mean, I do that all the time, and now they just don't shut up at all, really. They just don't. But it's fun. I'm never alone.
Have you ever had a guide, since this is an aspect of eternal soul self, I guess, is my form of saying what you said. Have you ever had one change its voice?
Yeah, voice, personality, everything. I think it's what appeals to you in the moment, And the thing that I love the most is the humor. Oh, God. They make me hysterical laughing. And I'll just be in the kitchen cooking something, just burst out laughing. And of course, we have a roommate, Dave, and my husband, Jed, and they sort of look at me and they go, what's so funny? Oh, you wouldn't understand. It's my guides. That's okay.
So we have been wanting to experiment with apports, where you have someone from the other side actually place a coin or anything in your environment.
They do that all the time.
Okay, so talk about that. So are they allowed to do that, or are they breaking the rules? Or is it?
I got to tell you, my mom did the best one. After my mom passed, I'm out there in the morning cleaning corrals. And when a horse takes a dump, I don't mean to be graphic, but when a horse takes a dump, it's a pile, it's one pile, right? But off 10 feet away from the last pile is a turd about this big with a beautiful curled quail feather on the top of it. And I went, okay, Mom, that was really cool. I want to know how you did that. I want to, because she leaves me feathers all the time. And she'll even say, go look in the feeder. Go look in the feeder. There's feathers in the feeder. And so I'm going through the hay and cleaning the dregs of the hay out. Sure enough, there's a feather. I've got them stuck in the wall too in the stalls. I just stick them in the wall because they stand up then. So can they move stuff? Oh, absolutely. They're an energy being. Of course they can move stuff. I mean, this is when you have negative energy, somebody that dies that's angry or, wasn't happy or whatever. And so their negative energy garbage can move stuff. Again, because it's negative. It's negative energy. It's all charged up. And so that's what causes poltergeist. Now I'm convinced of it, really.
Yeah, so interesting. So when you talk about the physics of mediumship, tell us more. It's my favorite topic. And Adam,
people make this so difficult and so mystical. And the biggest thing, and I really want to backtrack a little bit, think about physics. We only have positive and negative energy, right? Everybody got this? We have positive and negative energy. The only time it shifts would be like in a thunderhead that's cataclysmic, because you have them swapping positive for negative or negative for positive. I don't remember which it is. And you get a bolt of lightning 1,000 times hotter than the sun from energy going from positive to negative or negative to positive. It doesn't matter. It's just cataclysmic. So we only have positive and negative energy. And so when somebody dies, everything negative, pain, suffering, anguish, unfinished business, regrets, lack of forgiveness, all that crap gets shed off and left behind in the earthly realm. Everything positive goes with them to the other side, because it's the negative stuff is not a vibrational match to source energy, right? Because that's happy, happy, happy frequency, right? So if you don't have discernment, if you're a medium and you don't have discernment and you haven't learned this, which I just pounded into people, and you're getting negative stuff, oh, they haven't crossed over, oh, they're stuck, or oh, they're in purgatory, which I don't even know what the hell that is. But if you're getting negative stuff, you're dumpster diving. I mean, pure and simple, you are dumpster diving. You're in the negative energy garbage that they shed off. And so you have to learn to have discernment. And now, are there times that you get it? I just did in that reading I told you about, where the baby's the deceased fiance, because I needed to share something that he had in his last moments of life in order to help her heal. But I said, okay, now I'm dumpster diving. And I explained it to her exactly that way. If I'm getting something negative, I'm in the garbage he left behind. And she got it and she understood it. And so too many mediums, they like to be sensationalists too. Like, ooh, isn't this scary? And so they'll share that negative energy garbage as if it is where and how the person is now. Even that they haven't crossed over, man, we cross over instantly. We really do. Once we're out of our body, that's it. And most people that once they're out of it, they don't want to come back. Who've all read about the near-death experiences. No, don't make me go back. But you can have pizza. Oh, okay, I'll go back. So anyway, discernment is the most important part about learning to be a medium. I cannot stress that enough. If it's negative, it's garbage. If it's positive, if it's happy, if it's silly, then you're right on and you're connected to that person. And we have to remember that. It's probably the biggest mistake that people make. Well, but I heard something bad and he suffered before he died. Ah, you're dumpster diving. You're dumpster diving. If you're getting that, you're in their garbage. And this is why it's important to clear a space too when somebody passes. You know, if it's inside, if it's outside, it doesn't matter. But if they pass inside, you need to clear the space by burning Epsom salts and Everclear. I don't use sage. Sage just makes it smell like people have been smoking pot. I've been told. So we burn Epsom salts and Everclear to clear a space if somebody's passed. I even do it in my office because there's so many times people come through at me energetically. It's like, I gotta clear the space, you know, because I can feel it. Does that help explain it? I want to add one more thing. The other side isn't a place. This is so hard for us. But the other side is a frequency. You know, it's like turning a dial on a radio. The other side is not a place, it's a frequency. And I look at it like an overlay, which is why if we raise our vibration and our loved ones drop theirs down a squidge, we can meet in the middle. I still have coffee with my mom every morning, 8 o'clock. And she's so funny. She goes, what are we doing today? And I go, you got a mouse in your bucket? I'm working. What are you doing? You know, we have this funny conversations all the time. You know, and I love being able to connect to all my loved ones that have passed all the time. It's really fun.
I studied at Delphi University, and that is actually what they told us. They said, if you're going to be a medium for someone, fall in love with them, or even a channeler for them. You just fall in love with the person you're sitting in front of doing that for. Because yeah, you're getting to know the best possibility. Like you said, the discernment of like, what stories are we telling about ourselves?
Mm. Yeah. And one of the things that I teach in my books is a 3-point connection. And again, here we go with the physics. Anytime we have 3 points, energy can flow, right? That's physics. You know, you can't have energy flow between 2 points. That's a line. But you get 3 points, energy can flow. So I teach to have, you know, once you're grounded, which I teach that too, you connect heart chakra to heart chakra, and you just do that with intention. They could be 2,000 miles away. They could be around the earth. But you go heart chakra to heart chakra, then you go third eye to their heart chakra. Boom, that energy comes down through your crown, heart to heart, back to your third eye. I mean, I got goosebumps just describing it. I really do. But that 3-point connection is really important to do. And I always tell people, keep checking it. While you're doing a reading, keep checking it. And then also be checking your ground. Make sure you're staying grounded. Because a lot of times if we have issues and then we're dealing with somebody who also has those issues, we can get triggered. And then we're worthless. We can't help them. So we have to work on our own healing too.
Yeah, and it's all the same. In a way, we're just doing, you know, it's all the same. We're always healing, always each other, ourselves, and in every moment we're always creating, we're always learning, hopefully. Yeah. Yeah, it's so fascinating. So Adam?
Yeah, I'm curious about your intuition training. Do you do any of that in person? And
yes.
yeah, can you describe it to me? I'm just curious.
And I also want to ask you about grounding too, after that. But
okay,
if you can share screen too. We're having trouble here doing that, so that's why I made you co-host. And feel free to share screen. But yeah, you know, we're really interested in teaching things because, like you said yourself, you're not interested in being the only one can do this, because the more people that can do this, the better off we are, right?
Right. Right.
We know we don't die. And so I like your idea of like, what reality or what frequency are we experiencing? What are we choosing to experience?
Right.
Choosing.
The big thing is, what was the question again? The first question? I went to the second question.
What is your training about? Yeah. How does it work? How do you train people?
Because that's great. Okay, so what happens when I do training? Let's just say somebody says, "Okay, come to Milwaukee. We have 30 people. We want you to train all of them." As they sign up, we make a special place on the website. They sign up, and I send them the ebook. So if they've got the ebook, they can start studying. And I just send the first one, the Cowgirl Shaman Way. I send that one to them, and then I bring the books with me, so everybody gets all the books. You know, when I get there. And it's so bizarre because the morning is just questions and answers. Then we break for lunch, and then I match people up. I pair people up. And it's really funny because people go, what are you doing? And I go, I'm listening. And they're going, what are you listening to? Who to pair up? And there was one time that I was supposed to pair these two women up, but they both had pink sweaters on. I thought, that's weird. I don't want to do that. And guidance kept going, do it, do it. And they were yelling at me, do it, because those two people needed to work with each other. So I pair everybody up. And it's so bizarre how I do it, because people are like, what are you doing? But I'm listening to who to pair up. They start doing readings for each other immediately. So this is not hard stuff. And then people go, I have a 6-week course on animal communication. And I go, can't you do it in an hour? I mean, really, it's not difficult. And how much do you charge for that? We charge $3,000. I go, oh, I'm doing this wrong. So I have different packages, like training packages on my website. And we can either do it like by Zoom or Skype or phone or however you want to do it. But you always get the book ahead of time. And I say, once you've read it, once you know how to ground really well, make sure you can ground really fast and really well, then we can start working. Because you've got to be able to do that. If you can't do that, we're not going to get anywhere. And so then I just teach them, and then I go, okay, now I want to have you do a reading on my dog. And it's really funny. They panic. Oh, like they're going to do something wrong. And I go, no, I just want to see what you get. What if I'm missing something, right? And so sometimes I can even walk out in the corrals and have somebody read my horses. And it's really fun what comes through. And I go, I didn't know that, because the dog will go, the stupid ball is under the bed and I can't get it out. Oh, yeah, her ball is under the bed. So it's amazing what comes through. I apologize for coughing.
No, that's fun. We want to ask you about grounding, and then we want to ask you about your guides. Okay. Well, but let's talk about grounding. So grounding is so that they can send as much energy and it's all just going to flow. Nothing's going to blow out, right? Or talk about why you do it and how you do it.
Well, to me, we have to be connected to the earth energy, right? And then we have to be open to source energy. And then we have to bind the two of them together. And you should be able to do it anywhere. I can ground in an airplane at 30,000 feet. That's a feat, because your brain has to really go, okay, they're real elasticy and they're going to come with us. We're not going to pull a plane down with my roots. I mean, it's the things you think about when you're trying to do that. But it's a real good visualization with intention exercise. It really is. But I've just been taught, as long as you have roots going to the center of the earth, coming back up and surrounding you, and your crown chakra is open, and you're bringing in the white light, and then 3 fingers this way below your belly button, right on the midline, is where second chakra is. And so that's where you have the light you bring down the top of your head come out. And I picture sitting or standing in a tulip blossom, because it's just so there and surrounding you. And so you have that white light go out and sort of seal off the top of that tulip blossom. And it's amazing, because you get goosebumps, you feel warm, your hands get hot. That's one of the coolest things. Your hands always get hot when they're hot. Mine are hot right now, just thinking about it. And that's how you know you're ready to go.
I get goosebumps all the time. I love it. So is that someone getting in touch with me, or is that me connecting to them?
I would say yes to both. It's whatever you feel in the moment. If you get goosebumps because you're connected to someone, or just because you get information. I mean, if I get information, when I get biffed on the back of the head and turn into a Pez dispenser of information, I always have goosebumps when that happens. And then I'm yelling, I got it. Okay, shut up.
Listen fast. Are you connecting to their guides, other people you're talking to, guys, or new guides? Like, can you always get a feel for who they are?
Yeah, but so many people want to name them. We don't need to name them. We just need to listen and to give thanks that we heard the information and that it was clear. I mean, that to me is the important thing. I don't know what my Minnesota woman's name is, or my wonderful gay guy who tells me what to wear. They don't need names. I just adore them. Oh my God. I just tell them, oh, I'm so glad you're here. Thank you. When I had to go to the premiere of the series I was in, he was so cute. He goes, you need a silver jacket with long fringe. I went, what? He goes, total cowgirl. You're the cowgirl shaman. Go be the cowgirl shaman. You wear your belt buckle and your boots and just wear some nice dark pants. Because it's slenderizing, it was one of those deals. And I went on Etsy and there was a silver jacket with 12-inch fringe, and that's what I wore. Isn't that funny?
It is. Do you recall ever talking with something that wasn't human?
And by the way, you can get to terrijay.com since we're not able to share into the chats and New Realities and Portal to Ascension at the moment. terrijay.com is where you go to find out about her stuff. So this is, so I wasn't going to ask her that, but okay.
Yeah. You can.
Okay, yeah. Cool.
Any non-human communication?
I'm going to say yes. I'm actually writing a novel that's based at Area 51. And I don't know who gave me that book that I'm going to turn into a screenplay. But it was pretty weird. But it's me communicating with beings that are telepathic. So I don't know anything about that, right? And of course, I have to be a cowgirl. There's got to be a cowboy that I fall in love with, who's heading up the project. It's really cool. And I've actually been at Area 51.
I read about this. That's right. A couple of weeks ago. Okay, amazing. Tell us more about that.
Well, I don't talk about this very much because it's ancient history, but I was the director of the Wild Horse Commission for the state of Nevada from 85 to 90. And so we went on a range tour down there. Because they were telling us that the wild horses was eating all the sagebrush. No, they were just trampling it. Horses don't eat sagebrush. So there's all kinds of BS going on about that. And we got them all straightened out. But you can't, it was really funny because we're on this bus. You have to sign away your life. You will be shot if you share anything. It was really a serious document. We just all signed it. And we're on the bus and I'm going, oh, what's that? Oh, what's that? And everybody's going, Terri. Oh, okay. I just shut up. I kept going, ooh, to everything. And you can't talk about it. It was pretty funny.
But what do extraterrestrials say? What do they sound like? How is their energy different? Like, what is their consciousness?
It's the same thing. And this gives me the willies. Because, horses are my life. And if somebody takes me away from horses, life is not worth living, really. I was riding 6 weeks after my hip replacement. That's how rabid I am as a rider and a horse person. And it's just pulses of information. It's similar to if you had a very, very, very intelligent dog, like a border collie on steroids, kind of, that intelligence. And it's pulses of information. But it's almost weird, like they're in your brain making sure you hear it. They connect energetically to your brain is how I want to say it. It's not that you just receive information and share it. It's like like the Vulcan mind meld is the closest thing I can think of, what Spock used to do.
Yeah, I think that their consciousness is different.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that.
And there's no fear. That's the weirdest thing. There's no fear.
Yeah, that deeper connection then would be.
It's not something I would seek out, but I may get tapped by them when I start writing this novel because it's going to be fun.
Cool.
I already got the whole outline done, and I'm on stage 32 pitching all the time to pitch my national show. And the light bulb went on, and I went, oh gosh, what? Now I know about stage 32. I could turn these books into screenplays and then sell them. It'd be fun. I'm writing another one too that's a time travel romance. So that was fun too.
Oh, okay. Because this is so funny that you're talking about all this, because I was like, oh gosh, we got to ask her what would be her dream come true. Like, what would she do with money and everything? Like, okay, I'll do this film, this book, this travel. Like, and so here you are talking about it, but time is my favorite subject. So I want to hear about that.
You mean time travel?
The time travel romance.
Oh God. Yeah, it's really cool. I mean, and of course, they're the two characters in both of the books are based off of not me, but my abilities, a person with my abilities. And that's why it's, important. But both of the books have been given to me. It was like, hey, write this down. Okay. And I wrote it down, and there's the whole outline for the whole book. And I love to write. If I didn't do readings all day, readings is number one. I love helping people. I just changed that woman's life that I was just talking to, because now she knows her fiance is not gone. Her fiance is her newborn baby. They're together again. And he was a smart aleck about wanting to go through that lovely place one more time, when he was born. Anyway, he was kind of a horn dog. But which she agreed that he was. But anyway, I love helping people. And the stuff that I get, I can't make it up. I think I joke and say my TV show should be called I Can't Make This Stuff Up, but I would use a different S word. And really, I would. Would have to be on streaming, I guess. But I would definitely, to me, that's the perfect name for it, because the stuff I get is just so bizarre.
And then people are like, I can't believe they said that, because that's that exact energy. So if anyone has ever worked with a medium, it's absolutely wild, because they'll tell you stuff that you've never told them, or they would never know. I mean, it's uncanny. So it's really cool. So, I have so many questions for you, Terri.
Keep going. I love this. Okay, are you kidding me?
Okay, you get to decide which you answer. So because we're going to go also to the people that are here to ask questions. Okay. So one is, can you time travel? And two, do the people that pass, you say they want to go do other things, but you can call them back if they want to come back, they can come back and talk, right?
I don't know what you mean by come back. I want to say they're always present. They're always present.
What if they're busy?
Well, I'm sure they do stuff. I mean, I've talked to people that are riding their horses still. The horses are on the other side. And they do like to connect, though, because, we have such unconditional love for them. But they're never, if you think of them, you've pulled their energy to you. And if they pop into your head, they're coming to visit you energetically. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. In people getting started, we work with the radios to get yes, no confirmation. They also use our lights to have like a physical confirmation. But
cursors on your computer, those also will wiggle if somebody's there doing it.
Yeah. So I was going to ask you, what can people look for? We get feathers a lot.
Yes. My mother, leaving the feathers on the poop. She leaves me feathers all the time.
So what are other confirmations that you get?
I think pennies from heaven. Pennies from heaven we get. Yes. The other thing too that people miss. Oh, I love this, Zenka. You'll just do this. Like I got a hair on my cheek or something. And that's when somebody's kissed you. It's when somebody's kissed you or touched you. I always feel a kiss right here. That's my mom. Just as I'm falling asleep, I'll feel her kiss me right there on the forehead. And I go, that's my third eye. I'm just teasing. But you'll brush your hand like there's a bug on your hand or something. And that's when they've touched your hand. And you can even do this. You can even just put your hand out, like this, and go ahead, put your hand in mine. Man, you can feel it. It's warm, it's tingly. So we just, our conscious mind has trouble with this stuff. It just does. It has trouble with this stuff. But it's all real. It's real. It's just frequencies and vibrations that we don't pick up on. I mean, think about this. Dogs can hear like a dog whistle. We can hear a dog whistle. Uh-huh. So they're hearing a different frequency, right? Isn't that something?
Yeah, it's so interesting, so interesting. So I'm going to ask one more question. We're going to then open it up to
Okay.
members to ask questions if you have anything. And the question I had was related to time travel. Like, talk about that. I don't even know what to ask you because, like, have you time traveled? How does it work? Are we always time travel? Like, what are your thoughts on time travel?
Well, I scare the crap out of myself regularly. I remember being a child and doing astral projection. That I'd be laying in bed, just falling asleep, and all of a sudden I was out in the stars, and I just go, and I'm back down in my back down in earth in my body, and it used to scare the crap out of me. But I was a very normal kid. I never told anybody about that. I never said, sometimes I wake up and I'm in space. I mean, no, I never told anybody about that. But it wasn't until I started doing this work that I went, wait a minute. I've done this. But as far as time travel, to me, it's like freaking remote viewing. Because if somebody goes, hey, Terri, I'm looking at this house to buy. Here's the address, and it's in this city. I'm in the house now. Okay. Front window, bottom left corner, you got a leak. I don't know if it's old or new, but have it checked. You got a bad leak under the kitchen sink. I'm in that house walking around with them. And I'm listening to guidance telling me where there are problems and only where there are problems. And sometimes they'll go, Terri, I'm looking at this house. It's no. This is a money pit. The foundation is cracked. The pipes are going to all have to be replaced. And the electricity is knob and tube. Get out of there, And then they'd say, well, okay, well, I'll have an inspection done. Well, what did I just do? And they'll come back with the inspection and go, you were right. It's really bad. Should be torn down, So to me, it feels the same. If you want to time travel, if you just start reading about a place, like let's use Pompeii, for example. And you want to go to Pompeii, but you don't want to go when the volcano is going to go. You want to go before the volcano goes, right? And the smells you get, and which are really overwhelming, and the taste of the food that you can see. You can taste the food, you can smell things, and you feel like you're right there with the people and looking at how they dressed and all that stuff. By the way, they had no arch support in their sandals, none. So I couldn't go. There's no way I could go. So you can do that to any place and any time. But but you can do it just with your mind. You don't have to do it physically. And I think that that's a mistake that a lot of people make is they want to be transported physically. And it's like, why? What? Just go look. I scare myself too when I go back to Bowers Mansion, which is where my book is set on the time travel one. and I find myself walking around in there, and then all of a sudden it's like, wait a minute, I was just in there. Can you imagine if somebody saw me in there too, if they were the slightest bit perceptive and they go, a ghost, oh my God, I saw a ghost, right? No, it's Terri doing research. That's okay. No biggie. Isn't that funny?
Yeah, so interesting. So if anybody of our members or anybody from the Purpose Lab teams have a question, you can go ahead and raise your hand in the Zoom and then I will pull you down. In the meantime, I'm going to keep asking questions because I have a million. So this is so fascinating. So when you time travel, are you able to go to the future? Have you ever tried that?
Oh, no, I wouldn't want to. I wouldn't want to that because to me, because of the law of attraction, predictions are unethical. I will not ever do predictions, even though I've been throwing one around, but I really won't do predictions because they're unethical due to the law of attraction, because what you think about, you bring about. So can you imagine if I got something negative and I said, oh God, when you're in traffic, watch out for white vans. I see you having an accident with a white van. Them saying no to a white van every time they see one would make them have an accident. Because it's what you think about. It's what you're focused on. The universe doesn't hear yes or no, right? And if they're working really hard at something and I go, oh yes, I see that happening for you, they can go, well, Terri said it was going to happen, so I'm just going to quit busting my hump. And then it doesn't happen and I'm the asshole, right? So you can't do predictions. They're so dangerous. And I still get people that call me after all the stuff that's on my website about, and then I won't do predictions and all that stuff. They'll still ask me, what do you see? What are you getting? And I go, I'm going to refund your money because I'm not the kind of person that you want to get a reading from. And I just stop it because no matter what I tell them, it's not going to be enough. They want predictions and I won't do them. They're unethical.
I was more thinking you were talking about Pompeii and I was like, oh, because that's all I see all day long is the future and how we are as societies. Not so much, I never do it for someone saying, oh, what's going to happen in your life? Because I think you're right. Channelers, if I will never go to work with someone like that unless I know that everything they're giving me is positive, because like you say, like thoughts can rumble in your head and it's not worth, because you just like you go into a trance when a doctor says, oh, you're going to die of duck month. You just put, if you people who listen to doctors are also under that spell, like, oh, this is actually going to happen because someone reputable told me. Same thing, channeler, it can hit too hard. So I think this is a great point that you're making and it's very dangerous. And so, yeah, exactly. And I think it's very healing. I wanted to ask you what...
what's really... can I stop you 1 second? They've actually done studies where if a person gets a bad diagnosis and they say, no, that's not going to happen, most of the time they survive. And if a person goes, oh my God, I'm going to die, they die. Isn't that bizarre? It's that instantaneous response to that diagnosis that determines their survivability. I think it's fascinating.
It'd be great to get into a Zoom room and practice doing that, practice reacting to that because it's just a paranoid thought that you're having that is showing up in reality, but you don't have to choose to do it, to live it.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I got, luckily, blessedly, I got into energy healing early on in my work. I had 2 energy healers. One abused me. Can you look at something like 7 times a day? They were never paying me. So, but I thought, oh, I have to make her happy. I have to please her. And, I was really a mess at the time. And so I do all kinds of readings for her. And it sort of honed my skills. So I'm grateful for it. But at the same time, it was kind of abusive. And the other one just helped me to heal my childhood, which was crappy. And so the big thing is that people need to know about energy healing. And I'm sure you know about this, but I have so many clients that were said they were told they were terminal. And I send them to one specific energy healer, and I'm very selective about who I send. I will always send you the instructions on how to do it for yourself. And I've had people have great results with that. But if I send them to this guy, everybody is fine. Everybody that I have sent to him is fine. As long as they haven't waited too long, they all heal, even from, so-called terminal diseases. It's just been phenomenal. So, when people say, I had a scare one time and I was like, you have to go to this place to get your mammogram because there's a doctor there. And I went, okay. And the doctor comes in and she goes, well, everything's fine. I said, yeah, I know it. She goes, you didn't lose any sleep over this? I said, oh, hell no. I said, I have magic. And she says, what? I said, I have energy healing. I said, you don't know this because you're looking at the 1% physical body. I'm looking at the 99% energetic body. And I said, breast cancer is caused by unresolved grief and heartbreak. I said, you should do a study and ask people that are diagnosed with it how many heartbreaks and grief and loss they've had. I said, you'll be shocked. I said, because to a number, they all have grief and loss that they haven't been able to resolve. She said, that's incredible. I said, oh, yeah. I said, so I never worry about having that kind of a diagnosis. And I said, no, I did not lose any sleep over it. Isn't that funny?
Yeah, it's good. I'm constantly, when I get sick, I look up the root cause, the emotional cause in Louise Hayes. I'm like, oh yeah, that is true. If I look in the mirror, I can identify with that emotion or this thing or whatever.
Yeah. Well, email me too, because and this is for everybody that's here. Email me for the energy healing instructions. And there's 2 modalities. And then there's also a chakra diagram, which most people in this chat do not need. And there's also a medical intuitive handout that goes chakra by chakra, telling you what diseases and what chakra and why. And so and I think it's very much updated from Louise Hay, because she used to think breast cancer was caused by responsibility. And to me, that affects shoulders. You know, if you have too much responsibility, that impacts your shoulders. So to me, heart chakra is always grief and loss.
So tell the listeners how to get this information from you, how to email you. Again, your website as well, terrijay.com.
I think there's lots of places on my website where you can just click on email Terri and just say, please send me the energy healing instructions, and I'm happy to do so. It's like 4 attachments. And if you have any trouble with it, just holler. You know, I actually can coach energy healing. And this is one thing that I bump heads with some of the energy healers, especially Reiki people. And you know, it's good. It's good stuff. But I think it was good like 30 years ago. I think we've evolved. Our vibration is higher. And to me, if we're sick if we're diseased because we're disempowered, which is the cause of all disease, disempowerment. And if somebody lays hands on you and says, oh, you're healed, you still don't have your power back. And this is why diseases, even when you go through chemo, radiation, surgery, it's why they come back, because you've never dealt with the emotional cause. Never. And so you have to find the emotional cause of the dis-ease. Oh my goodness, I love doing that. It's like hitting the bullseye, like I'm an archer or something, and go, I know what it is. And I'm not being a smart ass when I do that. It's like somebody's just going, you know, you have intestinal issues. Oh, you had abuse as a child. What? You know, and they don't make the correlation. Oh, that's second chakra, that's childhood issues. So that's why you have IBS, IBD, Crohn's. You know, that's where all that comes from. Or all the female issues. You know, and we just don't realize it comes from our childhood crap.
Yeah, I see that. Dustin, did you want to have me spotlight you, add your pin to ask these great questions? Dustin's actually got 2 awesome questions. Go for it, Dustin.
Yeah, I was just saying, how would you decipher between like your imagination and an actual connection? How would you know the difference?
How it feels. And I would also say the speed that it happens. Our imaginations are slow. Seriously, our imagination, we sit there and we think and we cogitate, and you know, when you get intuitive stuff, it's boom, right this second. That's how I learned to discriminate between, you know, is it my imagination, or is this valid information coming from guides or the universe or wherever.
That kind of brings me to my second question. So journaling would be kind of a way of, as you said earlier, listening quickly?
No, I'm not a fan of journaling, and I'll tell you why. If we put negative garbage in a journal because we're trying to get it out of us, we've just de-slimed ourselves because we've written all the negative crap about some whatever. We get to go back and reread it and re-slime ourselves. I would say either chanting or meditating is the best way to raise your vibration and then also be able to hear more clearly. And it does take practice. You know, it does take practice. And what I like is when you get stuff that you can go, let me go check that out. You know, when you get something and you think, oh, I can check that out. You know, was that real? Right? And this is why I love doing animals, because I tune into the animal, which they can't talk. And I share stuff and the owners are just, oh my God, how did you know that? You know, I mean, they're blown away. So practicing it with people is really a great way to learn it too. But I'm not a fan of journaling unless it's all happy stuff. If it's all happy stuff, go ahead. But if you write negative stuff, pull those pages out, burn them. And when you're burning them, if you're like mad at somebody or needing to take your power back from somebody, you need to say out loud, nobody's ever going to treat me like that again. Okay, you got to take your power back. Okay?
Thank you.
Okay.
Sorry about that. Very cool. So I wanted to ask you about animal communication, and also feel free to delve into some topics that I haven't asked you. We have a half an hour left. But I'm interested in hearing more about the animal communication. Dogs, a lot of people have dogs. Not everyone has horses, but is there, is there a different species difference?
Oh, definitely. And it's what they're interested in. It's just, I have to tell you, we got 2 puppies last year. These puppies are insane. They're absolutely insane. And I lost 3 dogs in 4 years prior to getting these 2. They're nuts. All 3 dog spirits of the ones that passed are in these 2 dogs. And my female, she's having a little affair with my gelding. They're ridiculous together. Absolutely ridiculous. She gets in front of him all the time when I worry he's going to step on her or kick her or something. And he licks her from stem to stern, just licks her. She comes in the house, she's sopping wet and covered with wheat bran every day. It's hilarious. And they communicate, and I can hear her go, do me, do me, do me. And it's just funny to watch. And he goes, okay, He'll take me over to where his bucket is, because there's one groove that he can't get we call it the dregs, like in the bottom of a coffee cup. So I have to take my finger and go down this groove and get the dregs out so that he can eat it. So, and he always, it's almost like you can mentally hear the word dregs, come over, do dregs. So he can get the last of the bran mash out of his bucket. What I get with animals all the time is pain, because I do a lot of performance horses. And it's sad how much pain they're in and they're still functioning. And people don't get the underside of the horse. Bethany, do you have horses? No? Okay. Anyway, they don't do the underside. And so they're not getting their pecs. They're not getting their adductors. And these are huge muscle groups that can really impact a horse. And on a pain scale of 1 to 10, they can be like a 7. And they're still running. And you just think, oh my God. And then part of me goes, and then I have to just go, calm, quiet, kind. We're going to be kind. And so I have to take a step back and go, okay, so what I'm picking up on, and I just do it very nicely. But inside I'm going, oh my God, what's up with these people? They can't tell. And they can't. They never looked at the underside of the horse. So it's okay. And of course, that stuff to me makes me laugh at how ridiculous I'm being. I entertain myself doing it.
What about cats?
I wanted to ask about babies.
I don't get a lot of calls about cats unless they're lost.
Okay.
Or we're trying to euthanize them, figuring out it's time. Cats are the best at training their owners. They are so freaking demanding. They're the boss. I seldom get people saying things like, I don't know what my cat wants. I don't think anybody's ever said that, because those sons of bitches, they just know how to get their way, whatever that is. Whether it's, I think I'm going to go poop in your shoe because you were late with dinner. There's just so, they're just so good at getting their way, demanding. Oh my goodness, they're demanding. I love cats. They're so cool. I wish we could have them here, but we have a doggy door and a privacy fence, and they can get over the privacy fence. So I can't have them. I'd have 10. I would have 10. I'd be a crazy cat lady. I really would.
I know. I was not like, if you were like, oh, I have a mini lion in my house, like you would, and they were rare, it would be quite a cool thing. Cats are interesting, but yeah, we don't have one either. But what about babies? So do they sound like adults? Do they talk like adults? And we just think
no, they're more like dogs. It's like the baby I just did, the one that's the reincarnation of the gal's fiance. I said, was your fiance tall? She goes, yes. I said, this baby's what, 2 months old? Maybe not even. I said, I'm sorry, but this baby, was the baby born really long? She said, yes. I said, this baby already has growing pains. I said, this is why she gets fussy. I said, she's already got growing pains. And I said, so you're going to have to talk to your pediatrician about it, because you're going to watch these growth spurts and they're just going to be off the charts. And when she's fussy, she's got growing pains. And so when I tuned into that baby, it was like, like every part of that baby's body hurt. Well, that's not normal. It shouldn't hurt. But it was like every joint in that poor little baby's body hurt. But she's growing. She's growing like a weed. So when they learn words, then you definitely hear the words. And I love it when parents teach them sign language, because they can get sign language faster than they can become verbal. And so that's a really good thing to teach them, is sign language, because they can get that before their vocal cords and mouth and tongue and lips and all that stuff can form words. So it's really cool to do that.
So earlier in the interview, you told us that this was abilities that you're born with, that it's innate in you, your intuition is right there. And then you said, but people get in their own way. So why talk about that so we can get out of our own way?
I want one of those shirts that says, hang on a minute while I overthink this. You know, that's really what we do. I think we get ego involved. You know, it's like, oh, look at me, I'm the real dog and pony show, right? So we get in our way. We have a need to be right. And I even tried to justify it by saying that if it's not right, it's not going to be helpful. And there were too many times when I was given wrong information, argued with my guides about giving it, gave the information, and then heard back from the client why that wrong information was perfect. And so we just have to trust the process. You know, if your guides go, and you hear that a lot when you're working with your guides, then you just have to go, okay, well, I'm going to share the wrong information. And I have one gal calling, she goes, Terri, you remember that reading you did for me? Vaguely. She says, you told me this. And I went, oh yeah, the wrong information. She goes, you knew it was wrong? I said, yep. I said, did you have a good result? She goes, yeah. How did you know it was wrong? So, you know, we went back and forth with it. It was really funny. It was really funny how it worked out. So you just have to be out of your own way and listen to what guidance says. You know, if guidance says share it, you share it. If guidance says, you don't. So it's, you know, it's always interesting to me. I'm fascinated by it. I mean, to me, every reading is like opening a Christmas present. Isn't that something? I mean, every reading is like opening a Christmas present. And because you never know what you're going to find once you really open it up. It's just incredible. And there's so many times in my head, I'm going, WTF. WTF. Oh, what? Oh, you know, and then I just have to, you know, be professional. I just want to stick my finger in my nose when I'm saying that. Be professional, you know, right? Not silly.
Well,
but go ahead.
I've had an idea that there's really no rules to what can happen between us and any energies on the other side. But then there are other people that think that there are rules. What's your experience?
Well, to me, I don't want to use the word rules. I want to use the word discernment. I want to use the word discernment because I think that's where we kind of go cattywampus with it. Is when, and you hear this even with the TV mediums. Oh, they're stuck. Oh, they're suffering. Oh, they have unfinished business. And you just go, no, that's bullshit. No, they're just in the garbage. They're dumpster diving. So I think we have to have discernment. And I think that's probably what you mean by rules. And I always use, you know, the same thing that doctors do. First, do no harm. Because there's times when I've gotten information and I want to share it. That's a little bit ego. And guidance goes, nope, and I don't. It's not up to me. So being connected to your guides and listening, and then I want to say following instructions, really. And I don't mean this in a personal way, but it's not about you. You know what I mean? It's not about you. It's about you helping and healing others. And that's what I mean by getting out of your own way too. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So everyone right now is talking about oneness, that we're all one, and also that higher self, your higher self. what do you think about those concepts? And this is, by the way, this is such a great interview. I'm so excited to be having these you are like a breath of fresh air, truly. I talk to a lot of people all the time, and everything you're saying is so fresh. It's stuff I haven't heard in a way that I haven't heard it said. And oh yeah, because I was gonna okay, so he barked at the beginning of this interview, or one dog in the background. I was gonna ask about him. Tell us about him.
This is Daisy Doodle. That's Daisy. She's crazy.
Tell us about Daisy.
Daisy, I think she's gonna be 2, and she's a cattle dog cross. She's cattle dog, pit, boxer, and border collie. So she's a conglomeration. And we got her second. She's the one that has the affair with my gelding. They have a thing going. And she's just a riot. And my other dog is a McNabb. And I'm so trusting of the spirits of my old dogs coming back that my friend Renelle picked out the damn dogs. She said, "You ready?" After my last one died, I said, "Okay." She goes, "I found one for you." And I said, "Okay." She goes, "He's a border collie cross." And I just saw a picture of him laying down. I said, "Okay." She goes, "I'll meet you up at Tahoe, Thursday or something." I said, "Okay." I didn't give it any thought because I'm so confident their spirits come back. So she gets him out of the car and I went, "That's not a border collie." She goes, "No, he's a cross." I said, "No, he's not." I said, "That's a purebred McNabb. They all have white spot on the tip of their tail." I mean, it's a real, way of knowing. His name's Tux for tuxedo. So we got him, we brought him home, and I thought, oh my God, how am I going to take him out with the horses? This is the coolest freaking thing. I took him around to he didn't even know his name because we changed it. I took him on a leash and collar around to all the horses, introduced him to each of the horses, and I told the horses, he doesn't know about you, not going to bite you, not going to eat your food, not going to chase you. Please, please don't step on them or kick them. They won't hurt you, but they've never been around horses before. Every one horse said, "Name?" I said, "Tux." They said, "Tux." And it was like they were trying to introduce themselves to Tux. It was so cute. And then I just turned him loose, and he's never been stepped on, never been kicked, nothing. And then I think 2 months later is when we got Daisy. And I got her, she was an owner return because of a personal situation. And her name was Daisy. And our place is called Daisy Hill Haflingers. So that was like the sign that I had to get her. And I did the same thing with her. I took her around, introduced her to the horses, and, she just loved them. She thought they were great. And we've never had any issues, never, because the horses have the responsibility of being careful of the dogs, where you would think it would be the other way around. So it worked out really good. It really did. That was another time when guides went, "Tell the horses to be careful." And I went, "Oh, well, that makes too much sense, to tell them," because the horses and I have great relationships. They understand everything I tell them. So that was pretty funny, and it worked out great. It really did.
A true translator of the future. I love it.
Isn't that something though?
Yeah, you're bridging worlds. It's so cool. So
and
cool.
Then Betty was on here before, but she's dropped off. She's my helper in the morning, and she brings her wolf husky cross. And he'd never been allowed, even though she cleans stalls all kinds of places and feeds horses. She's a godsend. But she's never been allowed to turn him loose with horses. And so I did the same thing with him. I told the horses, "Hey, this guy, he's really cool, won't hurt you. Just be careful, don't step on him or kick him." And he's gotten to where he's so good with the horses now. And he's got to check on all of them. And he's got a favorite. He likes my mare the best. It's just funny. He has to go check her out and see her. And it's just fun when he comes every day.
I have to tell you, I was really excited about this interview in part because my parents and my sister got together and they got my 10-year-old son horseback lessons, 4 of them here in Sedona. And we found this woman, Barb Apple. She was amazing. And she told Nico, this 10-year-old, my son, she was like, "Look, the horse can read your thoughts. So if your thoughts are like off wandering, like thinking about something else, the horse knows that and is just like not care or whatever, And by the end, he had that horse like galloping and everything. And it was so cool. And he was really into it. So and then yeah, I think we found a way to get more lessons with her.
Oh,
So
good. Yeah, that's the old expression, the outside of a horse is good for the inside of a person.
Yeah.
And it really is.
and it kind of when I was telling this story, I was like, oh my gosh, because your message is that we all have these abilities. So if all horses have the abilities, she wasn't like, oh, this horse in particular can share thoughts with the rider. She's like, no,
All of them.
all of them, right?
Yeah.
She said she used to go bareback without any reins or anything.
Yeah.
And she would have to, by necessity, connect directly mind to mind with the horse. Because otherwise,
it's really fun. But I watch barrel racers, especially like the NFR, which is coming up next month, and you can tell which of those gals is energetically and telepathically connected to their horses. And there's some that are not. They're being mechanical. They just have really, really good athletic horses. There's one gal, her name's Kinsey, and her horse's name is Sister, and it's a buckskin. She can ride bridleless and saddleless because that horse is doing everything for her. And it's incredible when you get that kind of a relationship. I just love it. I mean, horses are my passion. And, like I said, I was six weeks post-op, I was back on. It's like,
that's so cool. Yeah. And they are very healing. Of course, everyone probably already knows that, yeah, their electromagnetic field is stronger than ours. They're bigger. So we can just bathe in their calming presence, kind of like Adam, like the rock, It's like,
but what's really cool is that their heart chakra extends 4 feet out of their body. 4 feet. So when you're sitting, even just sitting on them, you can just feel that heart chakra with them. That's why I like to stand right in front of them, put my arms around their neck, and just sort of feel that heart to heart meld. Oh my God. It heals you. It just heals you.
Have you ever been around dolphins or whales on the ocean?
No. And I really would like to. It's really funny. I watched some of the videos and the whales are coming up going, hey, can you get some of those barnacles? And then people are going, oh, look, I can pet him. And the whale's going, can you get the barnacles? And then people are oblivious. They're just not getting what that's a lot of times what the whales are saying. They're going, hey, make yourself useful.
When I was a kid off San Diego, before there were a lot of rules, they would come up next to the boat and we hit them with the brush.
Yeah.
Problem with the brush, and they would just sit there like,
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Not surprised.
So yeah, there's confirmation for you.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that's really what they're saying is
with the great
dude, barnacles, get them off.
Give me a scratch.
Yeah, because it got to be really itchy.
I would imagine.
Yeah.
I want to invite everyone who's watching to hit a like, share, and Terri, tell us how people can get in touch with you, and also any final thoughts that you have tonight. This has been extraordinary. Not only because of your humor and your sky intelligence, you gave everybody some things to do this month as we're on vacation to practice making that heart to third eye, to ask for signs back, to get to know the different people that want to dress us and humor us and heal us and connect with us. Whether
we have to remember, we don't have just intuition. We have clairvoyance, clairsentience, clairaudience, and claircognizance. I call them the Claire sisters. We all have all of them. Claire just means clear. So we have clear hearing, clear seeing, clear feeling, clear knowing. We all have all of it. And it's just a matter of opening up and listening in a different way, listening with your whole body. And, sometimes you get visual images in your third eye. Everybody knows where that is. Sometimes you hear sounds in the auditory processing area of the brain above the ears. Sometimes you get feelings, tactile feelings or pain feelings in an adjacent part. It's really fun. This is a heel bulb for a horse right there. That's the heel bulb. It's really funny when I get on with somebody, I'll go, I'm getting pain in the right front. And they'll go, yeah, that's where she's off. If I feel it in my left hip, that means they're off in the left hind. And so you get the feelings in similar parts of your body so that you get a clue about where the horse or animal has a problem. It's pretty interesting to feel that. And you really get like a hologram of the animal just right in your face. And it turns, and you can go inside and you can look at organs, and it's just that I was never taught that there were any limits to this, and so because, when I worked with the energy healers, they would say, what are you getting? And I go, well, it looks like this, or it feels like that. And so the two things I don't do, I don't diagnose and I don't prescribe. But sometimes I'll actually get the word for a diagnosis, and I'll go, okay, I'm getting a word. I'm just going to share the word with you for what this is. And so I'm very careful to not do diagnosing or prescribing, but I have so many veterinarians and physicians that use me all the time. And it's so cool because most of the time I don't know until we're done that they're a vet or a physician. And it's like, they go, Terri, how are you doing this? It's absolutely correct. Where do you get those words? Well, I'm just giving the words, about what the problem is. So
fast, listening fast. I love this, you guys. Before your logical mind can shut things down and slow things down, just what are those flashes? That's what Alex teaches us in the remote viewing. It's like the first flash.
Yeah.
And once you say thank you, this is another huge drop that she gave all of us who are watching.
No asking. No asking.
And thank you. I heard that.
Yes.
So you're giving confirmation to them. It's funny because Adham in our meetings, he's like, Zenka, so what I'm hearing is, and he would repeat it after, So
yeah.
Thank you.
But the big thing is, if we want to do the law of attraction, which, oh my God, I so believe in it. And when things get really tough, I'm just saying, thank you for my miracles. Thank you for my miracles. Thank you for my miracles. I mean, I'll just do it all day. It's my mantra. And then guess what? Miracles happen. Absolute miracles happen. And then it's really funny because when it happens, it's kind of like, oh yeah, I knew that was going to happen. And then it was like, oh, thank you. I have to remind myself to give thanks again because I got what I manifested and what I needed. It's so fun. And I love teaching this. I love teaching the courses. I had one gal, she said, I want to take the 5-hour course. Can we break it up? I said, oh, hell yeah, we can break it up. And so she, paid for it. And, we just said, okay, what do you want to work on now? And it's so fun. I loved, and what's really cool, and this is probably the coolest part about doing this work. I can watch people's whole energy field shift. And then I'm always going, did you feel that? And they go, yeah, what did you do? And I go, I didn't do anything. You did it. You shifted your energy field. That to me, it's just so stinking cool part. Oh, I love it. And people go, I have goosebumps. And I have other people go, I feel like I'm going to throw up. That's good because you're receiving it in third chakra. That's a good thing. Like when I'm doing lost pets and I'm on the map and I'm doing map dowsing and I get a spot, it was like, oh, okay, like I want to hurl. So that's where the dog is. And it's really funny because we have that nerve bundle behind the stomach that is like a big microwave dish. It receives the information. Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
So I can say I had a gut feeling.
Yeah, it's really cool. So I have experienced glimpses of all of this. And I used to feel, and I know Spence, our friend, Enlightenment member, as a healer, he just feels it right in his body, right? So then he knows where to send the love, the energy, and I'm really excited to review your connections to where is it emotionally, etc. But so all of you guys can try this, right? So where are you feeling it in the body? And if you don't feel like you can yet, just ask to do it, and then have
no asking.
Just like
no asking.
Yeah, you just do it.
You just give thanks. Thank you. I feel that. Yeah. Thank you. Just thank you. No asking. I get after people who say, let's pray for so-and-so. And I go, no, Say, I'm so grateful, honored, and joyful. They are healed.
Yes.
We got to stop asking, because we're taught to ask, especially with prayer, because if God finds you not deserving, then you're not going to get it. Okay. Because that's the ultimate judgment. Well, sorry, we all deserve it because we're all the same energy. Right? We all deserve it. We're God energy in a meat suit. So we all deserve it. Right? So no asking. And we just have to give thanks. Thank you for helping me ground. Thank you for helping me open my third eye. Thank you for helping me open my ear chakras. I think these look like little Shreky ears, don't they? Like Shrek ears. So we just have to give thanks for it. And then it just starts happening. It's amazing how fast it happens too, because by thanking, we're assuming it's going to happen. So it does. That's how the universe works.
And that's what you're creating consciously.
Absolutely.
That's so inspiring, because that means that anyone listening can create consciously.
Yes, absolutely.
Down the volume on the dumpster.
Yes.
Why? I love you live in such an adventure. I love it. I can just imagine all these people you talk to and like, okay, I'm being taken here. What is going to happen today? Like, I remember working in films and loving, because you never, no day is the same. So
no.
Thank you so much.
I'm just hoping I can either get a YouTube show going or a network show. I'm still pitching at Stage 32.
Oh, network, please. Because I was just like, oh, I can't wait to put her on the schedule again. Like, I have loved talking to you. Like I said, you've got humor, and which is heart, and your brain is amazing. And this is such a powerful message that you're giving everybody. The
big thing that I know has to get out there is about energy healing. That's the biggest part. And that people are making themselves sick because they're disempowered. And if they can learn to take their power back, they can heal. And that, to me, is the biggest message that needs to go out. And the rest of it is entertaining as hell. And we have a crazy crew here. We got the 2 crazy dogs, 2 weird horses that do tricks that we've never taught them. Seriously. And where we live is gorgeous. That's the view out my window is behind me. It's gorgeous here. Every time I see shows like on real estate and things, and I always go, oh, it's so flat. How do they live there with it so flat? They don't have any mountains. God. I mean, really, that's how I feel. Those are my mountains. I have to live near them.
We feel the same way. I'm here from LA now, probably 4 years in Sedona, and I'm just like, oh, these mountains.
They're so grounding. That's the thing. These are solid granite. They're so grounding. I love going up into them, as long as there's no snow.
Yeah. So everyone, make sure this week or this month to be in that gratitude. It's November. It's like a great way to start to just ride that whole thing through 2025. And terrijay.com is where you can find her. And she just said it. Just create that reality, because you've empowered yourself to choose what you want to experience. And like, your life can be such a gift, like Terri's is, of just healing ourselves, healing each other. There's so much renaissance happening right now. I'm so excited for everything that's ahead. And it's people like you that just gather us all into our best future. So thank you for everything you're doing. You're amazing. We loved having you tonight. And thank you so much. We're very grateful for you.
Well, thanks so much. Thanks so much for having me. It was great. And you had a great group and good questions. And anytime I'll come back.
Amazing. We can't wait. So and yeah, that's right. The reason why I jumped to say network is because I feel it's already done. Like you just said, like I could just see it. Like I said, sometimes I get flashes of, well, and yeah, this is, you could totally hold down a show on Gaia or network TV or anything. You're really got a great joy, because you're a comedian that can talk about serious things.
Yes.
So it's very entertaining. That's you are yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, really, we go from euthanasia to reincarnation and healing and just.
How would your show be if you did it? How would you want it?
Well, I already have the pitch deck, and I have a pitch deck video, and it's very amateurish. So we're trying to get. We were going to just start filming on YouTube, but every time I go to do a reading on an animal, I get pointed in the direction of the human to help them with their issues. Just like I just did it, talking to this lady about her barrel racing horse, and I said, "Your baby's a reincarnation. Who do you know who it is?" And she burst into tears. Her fiance was killed in August. The baby was born in October. So the baby is the fiance. I mean, it just healed her. It just healed her. I can't even explain it, how it happened. But this happens every reading. And I'll be doing a reading on a horse or something, and I'll go, your grandfather passed? And they go, yeah. Well, he says he drives with you in the truck and you need to freaking slow down. And they just start laughing hysterically. He always told me that. So we start with the animal issue, and then we always end up pivoting to the human. I'll tell you what I'll give you this. My log line, you know what a log line is?
No.
A modern day cowgirl shaman finds that doing intuitive readings on animals for her clients unintentionally leads to helping solve the human's problems with emotional and startling results. That's the show.
Wow.
I love that, because we're all fractals of each other. And
Yeah.
the whole thing, like you said, when you talk to your guides, they're fractals of you. They're a version of you that exists, that wants to speak and be heard. And if we listen fast, we can get it all. But I love that. And we all heal ourselves because we're all each other. So everyone's yeah.
Well, thank you so much for having me, and I wish all of you well. And I'm not expensive. My readings are only 50 and 90. So I'm not expensive. Everybody said, you were in a series, you should charge hundreds. And it's like, no, I'd lose half my client base because they're all poor horse people. So I have to keep my rates low so everybody can use me.
Wow. And that's amazing. And then you're also teaching other people how to do what you do and make a living doing that. And we need as many people making a living doing that as possible right now.
Oh my goodness. Yes, absolutely.
This is like looking at things positively. I would, hope that you can train so many people, because we can't dumpster dive in the Renaissance, you know?
No. So thank you so much for having me. It was really fun.
Yeah, it was amazing. Thank you so much. Have an amazing evening.